Hello there, I'm Azaria Tagaya and this is Nightline, the top stories. Malaysia's consumer confidence surpasses the global average. And Setia Alam mall shooting suspect killed in police shootout. Good morning. The Yang di-Pertuan Agong, Sultan Ibrahim, has successfully undergone conservative treatment for musculoskeletal pain. In a statement on Tuesday, Istana Negara attributed the condition to the king's intensive military training and active lifestyle, particularly his passion for polo during his younger years. In the king's social media post, Sultan Ibrahim and Raja Permaisuri Agong, Raja Zarid Sofia, expressed their heartfelt appreciation to Malaysians for their prayers and well wishes. The royal couple extended their sincere gratitude to all Malaysians who have performed special prayers and continuously prayed for the king. Sultan Ibrahim is expected to return to Malaysia on Friday. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim was granted an audience with the Sultan of Brunei, Sultan Hassan Al Bolkiah, in Bandar Seri Begawan on Tuesday to discuss various important issues involving ASEAN. The session was also held to obtain the views and advice of the Sultan, the most experienced leader in the 10-member grouping. Chief of the Informal Advisory Group to the ASEAN 2025 Chair, Thaksin Shinawat, was also present at the discussion, which also touched on the situation in Myanmar. The leaders explored the best solutions to achieve a positive trajectory to resolve the Myanmar crisis, while ensuring that all ASEAN foreign ministers remain informed of ongoing developments. The discussions also explored whether the proposed ASEAN-United States Summit, aligned with talks at the ASEAN Foreign Ministers' retreat last January, should be held as soon as possible. On disputes in the South China Sea, the leaders agreed on the need for broader multilateral diplomatic progress, with the aspiration of finalizing negotiations on the Code of Conduct as soon as possible. Focus was also given to strengthening intra-ASEAN trade and enhancing economic cooperation, including the necessity of a more business-friendly and effective regulatory framework. After his visit to Brunei, Anwar was expected to depart for Manama as Malaysia and Bahrain look to further strengthen bilateral relations in conjunction with the celebration of 50 years of diplomatic ties. The Prime Minister's official visit to the Gulf nation is also expected to further boost cooperation across multiple sectors. The three-day visit is at the invitation of Bahrain's Crown Prince and Prime Minister Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa. According to Malaysian Ambassador to Bahrain, Shazril Zahiran, Anwar is scheduled to hold a courtesy meeting with his Bahraini counterpart to discuss the progress of Malaysia-Bahrain relations with a focus on strengthening and expanding cooperation in key sectors of mutual interest.
Termasuk perdagangan dan pelaburan, pertahanan, keterjaminan makanan, perbankan Islam, industri halal, kesaling hubungan dan pelancongan. Selain itu, isu-isu serantau dan global yang berkepentingan turut akan dibincangkan.
As the 2025 ASEAN Chair, the Prime Minister is expected to invite Prince Salman to the upcoming ASEAN GCC Summit as well as the ASEAN GCC plus China Summit. During the visit, Anwar is also scheduled to have an audience with Bahrain's King, Raja Hamad Isa Al Khalifa. Anwar will also meet Bahrain's Finance and National Economy Minister, Sheikh Salman bin Khalifa Al Khalifa, to explore opportunities for economic cooperation. On the sidelines of the official visit, the Prime Minister is slated to deliver a speech at the Intra-Islamic Dialogue Conference. Bahrain was Malaysia's 9th largest trading partner in West Asia last year, while Malaysia ranked as Bahrain's 3rd largest trading partner among ASEAN nations, with bilateral trade between the two countries reaching 1.19 billion ringgit. Malaysian consumer confidence has outperformed several regional counterparts, with optimism levels exceeding the global average as well as indices in Japan and South Korea. According to the latest Ipsos report on Tuesday, Malaysia's consumer confidence index rose by 4% last month compared to the same period last year and by 2% from December 2024, signalling a strengthening sentiment among consumers regarding economic conditions. In a statement, Ipsos Malaysia said the positive growth of the Malaysian economy and the stable inflation in 2024 contributed to a favourable consumer outlook. Notably, the index surpassed the global average as well as averages in Japan and South Korea, suggesting that Malaysian consumers are more optimistic about their economic prospects than regional counterparts. The report noted that confidence has grown across key indicators such as job security, future investment and purchasing power. These factors indicate that Malaysians feel increasingly secure in their financial financial situations, which may drive higher consumer spending and boost economic activity. Among the key components of the index, confidence and job security saw a 6% increase compared to January 2024. Similarly, confidence in future investment and willingness to make major purchases also grew by 4 to 6%, reflecting a positive outlook on financial stability. This improvement in consumer confidence also aligns with broader economic trends in Southeast Asia, where optimism levels remain higher than the global average. Malaysia, along with Indonesia and Singapore, leads in consumer sentiment within the region, demonstrating resilience despite external economic challenges. However, while consumer confidence remains strong, the report also highlighted potential risks that could impact sentiment moving forward. Ipsos cautioned that geopolitical uncertainties, trade tensions and domestic policy changes could pose challenges. Ipsos's index was based on monthly surveys of 500 Malaysians aged between 18 and 74. Sultan Sharafuddin Idris Shah has called for stronger security measures by expanding CCTV coverage in key locations in order to curb criminal activities. Expressing his concerns over public security in the state, on Tuesday, the Sultan of Selangor also urged the authorities, including the police and the fire department, to remain on high alert.
Beta menitahkan agar pemasaran CCTV diperbanyakkan di tempat-tempat yang strategik supaya pelakuan jenayah dapat dikesan dengan segera.
Sultan Sharafuddin said this during the opening of the first meeting of the third session of the 15th State Assembly. On another matter, Sultan Sharafuddin stated that he no longer wishes to hear of land ownership and business license mismanagement for personal gain, as was previously reported to have occurred at the Klang District Land Office. As such, His Highness commands all public servants in the state to uphold integrity in their line of work.
Kepada pegawai kerajaan dan kaki tangan pejabat awam yang bertugas di negeri Selangor ini, terutama di pejabat daerah dan di pihak berkuasa tempatan PBT, bertugaslah dengan penuh tanggungjawab dan jauhi amalan rasuah serta penyelewengan. Beta tidak mahu mendengar lagi pemilikan tanah dan pengeluaran lesen perniagaan diselewengkan bagi memenuhi keperluan peribadi.
He also ordered department heads to ensure that abuse of power does not occur in their respective departments. The gunman in the Setia City Mall shooting was involved in several other crimes while he was being tracked down by the police before being shot dead in Pulau Ketam on Tuesday morning. Selangor Police Chief Datuk Hussein Omar Khan said the man had committed robberies with accomplices in the past but had been operating solo for the past year. Hussein said the man in his mid-30s, whom he referred to only as Ah Boy, was involved in extortion and robbery after the mall shooting, as well as a house break-in and the theft of a motorcycle.
Lepas kejadian di Setia City Mall, daripada Kelang dia melarikan diri ke selatan. 5 hari dia berada di selatan, lepas tu dia patah balik ke Banting, lepas tu 2 hari lepas dia dikesan di Sabah Bernam. Di Sabah Bernam dia sempat melakukan satu kejadian pecah rumah dan juga curi motosikal dan menunjukkan senjata api.
The suspect committed 15 crimes in total, 9 crimes before the mall shooting and 5 after. However, the man was killed in a shootout with police in an operation at a hotel in Pulau Ketam at about 3 a.m. He had reportedly been hiding in the hotel for 2 days and was believed to have been planning an escape abroad. Hussein said further details of the man's identity and crimes will be revealed once the post-mortem is completed. In the incident on February 8th, the suspect fired several shots at a Setia City Mall janitor, injuring him in the legs. He also held a family at gunpoint, forcing them to drive him out of the mall as a means of escape. The Asian Football Confederation AFC is currently awaiting a full report regarding a firecracker disturbance at the Pohang Steelers team hotel in Johor Bahru on Monday night. Its Secretary General Datuk Sri Windsor Paul John, however, explained that it would be difficult for the AFC to take action if the incident occurred in public areas, as such matters fall under the jurisdiction of the local authorities.
Luar hotel ni adalah tempat awam. Jadi itu terpulang kepada polis untuk mengambil tindakan. Okey, yang first kali, adakah siapa-siapa yang melanggar peraturan? Kalau ada siapa yang melanggar undang-undang, itu pihak polis lah. AFC sendiri, match commissioner, apa yang berlaku, dan dia tidak ada sangkut paut dengan perlawanan malam ini. Dia tak ada kena-mengena. Dia akan dipanjangkan kepada jawatankuasa yang berkenaan untuk menyelidik sama ada tuduhan ke apa, laporan ke apa-apa itu betul, dan mereka akan ambil tindakan jika ada apa-apa peraturan yang sudah dilanggar oleh mana-mana pihak.
Windsor further emphasised that in any AFC-sanctioned match, all matters fall under the authority of the match commissioner. However, should Pohang lodge a formal complaint with the commissioner, he said the matter will be processed at the AFC disciplinary committee level before any further action is taken. On February 17th, Pohang's match preparations against Johor Darul Takzim JDT in Johor Bahru were reportedly disrupted when some individuals set off firecrackers and fireworks outside their hotel from 11 p.m. until 3 a.m. As a result, the team's management requested the police to investigate and take appropriate action, while also submitting a complaint to the AFC. Following this, the incident was widely reported by major news portals in South Korea. In Kedah, police thwarted an international drug smuggling syndicate's attempt to traffic more than 4 million ringgit worth of methamphetamine and ecstasy pills out of the country. State Police Chief Datuk Fizul Saleh said the drugs, 51 kilograms of methamphetamine and 14.9 kilograms of ecstasy pills, were seized following the arrest of a suspected transporter at a business centre in Sungai Petani on Sunday. The suspect, a 46-year-old Johor man, was detained at 7 a.m. while holding the keys to a car. The drugs were later found in the trunk of the vehicle. The suspect has been remanded for 7 days from February 17th to 23rd for further investigation under the Dangerous Drugs Act. He tested negative for drugs and has a prior criminal record. Former Prime Minister Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin's corruption trial related to the Jana Wibawa financial scandal is set to begin in September. The Kuala Lumpur Sessions Court on Tuesday has set 11 hearing days between September this year and January 2026. Deputy Public Prosecutor Datuk Wan Shaharuddin Wan Ladin said the prosecution is expected to call some 30 witnesses during the trial. Meanwhile, Muhyiddin's lawyer Chetan Jithwani requested that witness statements for key witnesses be provided to the defence at least 4 weeks before the start of the trial. Judge Azura Alwi also granted the temporary release of Muhyiddin's passport until March 3rd for him to attend a conference in Belgium. The court set May 14th for the next case management. Muhyiddin, during his tenure as the 8th Prime Minister and as the President of Parti Pribumi Bersatu Malaysia, was charged with 4 counts of using his position for bribes amounting to 232.5 million ringgit related to Jana Wibawa projects for the party. He also faces 3 charges of receiving 200 million ringgit in proceeds from unlawful activities. Malaysia's timber product exports rose 4.9% in 2024 on Tuesday, reaching 22.9 billion ringgit. According to Plantation and Commodities Minister Datuk Sri Johari Abdul Ghani, the timber industry was the 3rd largest contributor to commodity exports after palm oil and rubber. Johari said Bumiputra entrepreneurs have also recorded a notable rise, with exports rising 33.3% from the previous year. However, he noted that Bumiputra participation in the overall timber export sector remains low, reflecting challenges of expanding within the sector.
Jadi mereka ni banyak lebih kepada micro enterprise. Jadi saya beritahu bahawa kalau nak maju dalam industri ini, dia mesti memerlukan ekosistem yang boleh menguatkan perniagaan mereka ini.
Johari said this at the symposium on empowering Bumiputra in the timber industry held in Putrajaya. While there are many opportunities they can pursue, he said the lack of a strong supply chain holds them back. As such, he stressed that they must collaborate with successful non-Bumiputra companies that are already part of the existing supply chain so as to ensure that the designs and ideas generated by Bumiputra can be fully realised. The Malaysian Communications and Multimedia Commission MCMC is in the final stages of evaluating key matters before granting U Mobile Sendirian Berhad the necessary approval to proceed with Malaysia's second 5G network. Communications Minister Fahmi Fadil on Tuesday said the approval letter is anticipated to be issued within 1 to 2 weeks.
Dia adalah, I forget the technical term exactly, tapi dia akan membolehkan pihak U-Mobile untuk melaksanakan. Ya, jadi kita jangkakan mungkin dalam tempoh seminggu dua ini.
He added that Digital Nasional Berhad DNB and U-Mobile have also submitted a detailed business plan to the MCMC. Last November, Digital Minister Gobind Singh Dio was reported as saying that the implementation of the second 5G network would not proceed until the government recovers 950 million ringgit of its investment in DNB. Singapore has announced a slew of support measures for both households and businesses in its 2025 fiscal year ending March 2026 on Tuesday. These include vouchers and tax breaks in its first budget under Prime Minister Lawrence Wong. Wong said this comes amid concerns over rising costs given the rise in global inflation following the Russia-Ukraine war and disruptions in energy, food and supply chains. Wong also announced more consumption vouchers and utility rebates for households. Each household will receive 800 Singapore dollars in consumption vouchers over the course of 2025. A 60% personal income tax rebate was also announced for the year of assessment 2025, capped at 200 Singapore dollars. On the business front, Wong announced a 50% rebate for corporate income tax for companies with a minimum of 2,000 Singapore dollars and a cap of 40,000 Singapore dollars. The government will also increase co-funding levels for companies who raise the salaries of lower wage workers. While Wong said that these measures, along with those announced in previous budgets, will mitigate the impact of rising costs, he added that the best way to adjust to higher prices is to grow the economy and increase productivity. Australia's central bank cut its key interest rate on Tuesday for the first time in more than 4 years, but warned global turmoil could derail further easing. The Reserve Bank of Australia cut the cash rate by 0.25 percentage points to 4.1%, the first time it's been lowered since November 2020. The bank said inflation had fallen substantially since the peak in 2022, but that it remains cautious about the prospect of further reductions in the future. The decision was in line with market expectations, with government bonds rallying in recent weeks on anticipation of an interest rate cut. JDT crushes Pohang Steelers. Sports after this breather.
Kalau semua ejen dah pakai Iris, Mata perlukan saya lagi ke?
Kenapa semangat sangat nak kejar aku sampai sini?
Semua rimau aku serang, aku masih boleh tendang. Kalau nampak jangan cengang, kalau kacau benang kami nanti dengar gendang perang. Lepas lawan yang di sini, lawan yang seberang. Kita jaga kita.
Cinta mereka terikat dari bayang-bayang kekecewaan.
I janji, I akan setia dengan you sampai hujungnya.
Namun, cinta yang terbina hanyalah singgahan derita.
Dengan bakal bapak mertua aku pun kau nak sapu juga. Patutlah lari. Assalamualaikum. Nak masuk ke?
Jadikan Aku Bidadari setiap Isnin hingga Jumaat 7 malam di Akasia TV3 dan stream sekarang melalui Tonton.
We're back with sports. Football and the AFC Champions League elite, Johor Darul Takzim JDT, earned their spot in the last 16 in emphatic fashion, beating South Korea's Pohang Steelers 5-2 at home on Tuesday. Despite the Southern Tigers' early dominance, the visitors opened the scoring with Lee Ho-jae's header in the 27th minute. Stunned, the hosts equalised 10 minutes later when Oscar Ribas pounced on a rebound inside the box. Bergson de Silva then put the hosts in front in the 52nd minute by slotting home from a tight angle before Malaysian superstar Arif Aiman Muhammad Hanafi made it 3-1 4 minutes later. The visitors managed to close the gap in the 80th minute through Hyun Ji Kang, but goals by former Real Madrid forward Jesse Rodriguez and Jorge Obrejon ensured JDT the 5-2 victory. JDT now sit 4th in the 12-team standings with 14 points, ensuring a top 8 finish even though the group stage concludes on Wednesday. In another match, Al Ain's defence of their continental crown fizzled out in Baghdad as the United Arab Emirates UAE side slipped to a 2-0 defeat against Iraq's Al Shorta. After a goalless first half, Mahmoud Kamal Al-Mawa scored 5 minutes into the second period with a composed finish. Lucas Souza Santos then sealed the victory, nodding in a late second goal to cap a miserable tournament for Al Ain. Despite the win, Al Shorta were eliminated from the tournament after collecting just 6 points from 8 matches, while Al Ain finished their campaign at the bottom of the Western League standings. Tennis now. The 2025 Qatar Open, Carlos Alcaraz overcame Croatian veteran Marin Cilic on Monday to reach the second round of the ATP 500 tournament in Doha. The world number 3 found himself trailing in the second set but battled back for a 6-4, 6-4 win in the opening round. The top-seeded Spaniard, who saved 5 of 6 break points, will face either Zhang Zhizhen of China or Italy's Luca Nardi in the next round. Earlier, Czech Republic's Jiří Lehečka defeated the 7th-seeded Grigor Dimitrov of Bulgaria in straight sets. The world number 25 took 1 hour and 16 minutes to claim a 6-4, 6-4 victory in the first round, setting up a meeting with Hungarian Fabian Marozsan. US plane crashes and flips during landing. The details when Nightline returns.
Unlocking the future of business.
From industry evolutions to policy changes, we go beyond the headlines.
Deep insights, sharp analysis.
Understanding the forces driving tomorrow's economy.
Key financial insights that drive decisions.
This is Money Matters, every Saturday, 5 p.m.
Only on TV3 and stream now on Tonton.
Sinaran mentari menyinari menusuk ke jiwaku ketika bersamamu mesranya bila kita berdua bagai malika indah yang tumbuh di muka dunia.
Siapa sangka, pasca pandemik telah mengembangkan lagi penggunaan private cabin di sektor pelancongan di Malaysia.
Bukan sahaja yang buat sebagai rumah, chalet, homestay, tapi ada jugalah yang buat sebagai klinik.
Teknologi ini boleh diterapkan dalam silibus pembelajaran kemahiran.
Majalah 3 Kapsul, Sabtu 9 malam di TV3 dan stream sekarang melalui Tonton.
Thanks for staying with us. A Delta Airlines jet attempting to land at a Canadian airport amid strong winds and drifting snow crashed and flipped over on the tarmac, finally coming to a rest with its belly up and at least one wing shorn off. The plane, which took off from Minneapolis in the US, crashed at around 2:45 p.m. local time in Toronto, Canada. According to the local weather service, there were strong winds coming from the west at about 47 kilometers per hour, with gusts of up to 61 kilometers per hour at the time of the crash. However, despite the crash landing, all 80 people aboard the flight were evacuated. At least 18 people were injured, including one person with critical but non-life-threatening injuries who was airlifted to a trauma center, and a child who was in critical but non-life-threatening condition. The others who were injured were taken to hospitals to treat minor to moderate injuries. Meanwhile, the Transportation Safety Board of Canada will lead the investigation, while the US said it was leading a team of American investigators to assist the Canadian authorities. Israel has begun pulling its forces out of southern Lebanon on Wednesday as the deadline for their withdrawal under a fragile ceasefire deal passed. The initial deadline for the Israeli withdrawal in late January was extended to February 18th. However, while the majority of its forces will meet the revised deadline agreed under the ceasefire deal with Hezbollah, Israel has said it will remain in 5 temporary strategic locations, warning it is ready to resume hostilities. An Israeli military spokesperson claimed the temporary measure was approved by the United States-led body monitoring the ceasefire. Meanwhile, the Lebanese president raised concerns that a complete withdrawal would not be achieved by the deadline, saying the Israeli enemy cannot be trusted. In the meantime, Palestinian group Hamas on Tuesday said it will release the dead bodies of 4 Israeli hostages on Thursday. In a statement, the group said it will also release 6 living hostages on Saturday instead of the 3 that had been expected. The Israeli Prime Minister's office confirmed that an agreement had been reached during negotiations in Cairo for hostage releases. It added that 4 additional slain hostages are expected to be handed over to Israel next week. Meanwhile, Israel is expected to release Palestinian prisoners in exchange for the Israelis as in past weeks. And that concludes Nightline this time around. Before we leave, let's take a look as the annual Taste of Dubai Festival kicked off in the Emirati city, showcasing signature dishes from 16 of the top local restaurants. With that, I'm Azaria Tagaya. Thank you for watching and we'll see you next time.